everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luitico. I'm a 3D character artist and animator. I'm always forgetting to say animator, but then yes, I also animate. I sculpt 3D characters, and this is my channel where I pretty much post the time lapse of how I make those characters, and every now and then I'll add in a bit of commentary for maybe so. If you clicked on the video, thank you so much for clicking on it. Leave a like, share, subscribe to the channel, comment, and if it's your first time here, that is, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, time-lapse Spider-Man. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Of course, like in my first interaction with the character didn't really come with the comics. It came with the movie, the Sam Raimi movies. I think at the time it was like 2004. The first one had already been out, but then I had one. I think I was like 2004. I was 6 years old. Yeah, I was 6 years old at the time. So that was like 20 years ago, because I was born in '98. So yeah, so yeah, yeah, I'm pretty old. But then yeah, so that was like my first Spider-Man. I think maybe that's also like one of the reasons why I decided to go for this aesthetic of the character, because I know that he's not very traditional in the sense in his build. I feel like most people are used to him being rather small, kind of tall in a way, rather slim is the better way to put it. But then yeah, I've always found like a buff version of Spider-Man very appealing. And I think Sam Raimi wasn't the first one to have like a buff version of Spider-Man. I think that was definitely the animated series. Spider-Man the animated series, not Spider-Man the new Spider-Man the animated series, because the new animated series was like a 3D version, and the animated series was like a 2D. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that one. I'll chase you to the end of the world, shocker. That. I think everybody knows that. Meme Spider-Man chasing. Yeah, so like he was pretty buff in that rendition too of Spider-Man. That being said, I really want to talk more about Alberto Mielgo's work, because his concept is what I use when sculpting this character. Which pretty much, first of all, let me also get into the. I feel like I didn't quite capture his vision, because he had a very different vision. Because from the Spider-Verse movies, the Spider-Verse movies are pretty much like a toned down version of what he originally had in mind, because I think he was like the first hire, if I'm not mistaken, because yeah, he was the first hire to come up with the vision of what the whole thing is going to look like. So I think when he had his proof of concept and all that, I think it took him a really long time, over a year, to just have the proof of concept. And I guess Sony didn't really like the vision. I'm not entirely sure what went down, because they've never actually spoken on it. But then I think, from what I've seen and from what I've discussed with some friends of mine, is definitely I think Alberto's work was just a little bit too grimy. I don't know if grimy is a word, but it was just a little too real. You feel me? But then I actually liked the vision. I thought it was pretty cool. So when I saw some of those proof of concepts and the concept arts a few years back, I was like, damn, this is so cool. I love the Spider-Verse movies. I think they look really dope. But then I think I just love Alberto's original vision more. I think which is also something I want to touch on a little bit. Perfectionism in the art community. Everybody wants to be perfect in that. But then what I love about Alberto's work is it's not perfect. I'm not saying it's ugly, but it has this certain realness to it, because it's so, I don't even know how to put it in words, if I'm being honest with you. But then I think if you see his work, just check out his Instagram. You'll definitely see what I mean. If you've seen his previous works, I think he has the windshield wiper. If that's the name of his short film, I hope I got that right. Yeah, he has that. He has that on his YouTube. Just check out one of his short films. His characters are never symmetrical, perfect. At times you have floating geometry on a 3D thing. At times the colors out of boundaries. I just love that, and it works. It's just so appealing to look at. So I feel like maybe we can learn a lot from Alberto, because he's very raw with his work. I don't think he chases perfectionism. He just chases everything he draws is just like a vibe. It just gives off a certain feeling to it. So I think that's just something I love about his work. I just wish I had better ways to articulate what I'm trying to say better. But then I can't really say what it feels like. I can't really put it in words. All I can say is that I know how it makes me feel, and he doesn't his work is never he tries to put those imperfections, even his characters. If you've seen his work in Hibaro, or Love, Death and Robots, there was The Witness, then Hibaro. His characters are very seem like everyday regular people. You feel me? Like yeah, that's the best way I can put it. And his work is, it's like, okay, I've seen people draw people like a million times. I've seen different like artists draw people, but then the way Alberto draws his people, it's just so, you find that, there's just like so many hints of imperfections in them. From like, you find that maybe one eye is a little bit bigger intentionally. It's really like, and you can tell that this is a master because he understands anatomy, he understands all these things, but then he can play with it in such a way that's very interesting to look at. Like his original concept, I feel like this is the way I failed when making the concepts. Is I didn't quite get the shape language. I made him a little too regular in a sense, but then Alberto's work was just more. He had a very different shape language, which I didn't quite capture. But I just love the idea of like a Spider-Man built like a linebacker. I thought it was a very dope idea. I do wish Spider-Verse went that direction, but then I also love the current. I love the current Spider-Verse works. But then I noticed one thing when like trying to make the animation at the beginning. It's another thing that I definitely like as an artist is my shape language was off. The materials I made, I feel like that's where the characters shine the most with the Spider-Verse. Because if you look at the Spider-Verse art style, right, it's 3D, but then if you look at those characters and you've watched Soul, which is Soul about the guy who ends up in a cat, those characters would pretty much fit into there. But then what pretty much distinguishes them is the fact that the Spider-Verse characters would like fit in that universe if they just had like more traditional materials applied to them. They pretty much fit in there. And so there's really nothing special about the designs, from like we've seen this before type of thing. Not that they're the bad 3D models, not they're great 3D models, but then it's like we've seen them before. But then what pretty much distinguishes them is the fact that it's the shading is different. The shading, the animating on 2s, at times on 3s. You feel me? That's what kind of like gave it that appeal. And that's pretty much what gave it that kind of appeal. And I think it was very like it was very smart. And then I didn't quite get the whole like I have to maybe build these materials in a certain way, because I tried but I failed. I think it also shows at the end of the video where I did do that, but then it didn't like turn out, it didn't look right because I just couldn't get the materials right and the shaders. So I just like, let me just put this back to default. I think you catch like a clip of it at the end of the time lapse. But then so that's pretty much that. But then I'll definitely keep trying again, because this is not the only Spider-Man model I'll make. I'll try to make more. But then I just love the authenticity of like Prowler. My bad, because I'm looking at my notes over here of Alberto's work, and I hope you guys enjoyed that little animation I made at the beginning. And so like the idea of like a very buff Spider-Man is not a new thing. I love Alberto's work. And the Spider-Verse appeal has a lot of like post work that like helps with the final look, which I'm not very good at, like post production work with like After Effects and stuff like that. I'm not really good at that, but then I'll definitely keep trying. I'll make more models, and if you had a request for like a character, I'm wrapping up. I'll get to it because I did the Mizuki Tachibana. I have Saitama left, and Aqua is the next. So if you made this far into the video, I got you, my guy. I'll definitely sculpt Aqua. And okay, just to put this out there, Tobey Maguire is definitely my favorite Spider-Man. Not that I hate the other ones. Like I love Andrew Garfield. I love Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but I'm not really a fan of this Tom Holland movies because I feel like they felt more like a long episode than like a movie. You feel me? But then with like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, he was just you could tell like this guy doesn't have to be a hero, but then he really wants to be a hero. You feel me? Like he was really pushing himself. The injuries, like he like it was something. Granted he wasn't as as comic as I feel like every Spider-Man got something right. But I think my favorite is definitely Sam Raimi's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I love Garfield. I love Tom Holland, but I feel like Tom Holland's movies just feel like a really long episode of like I don't know. I guess I just didn't feel like any stake. I didn't feel any stakes in the movies. Just feel like a really long episode, a dragged out episode. But but then I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. But then my favorite will always be Tobey Maguire. Just to put that out there. And but then guys, I think one of the things I do want to say as an outro thing is, if you're a 3D artist or an artist in general, don't let that don't be so wrapped up in trying to be perfect with everything. Because one thing I'll definitely say is, if there's something that actually delays these videos, is trying to chase perfection, perfectionism, just trying to be perfect. But then it's impossible. Just try your best, and do what you can with the current abilities that you have, and then you improve as you go. But then don't be so hung up on this, everything has to be so perfect. One of the beauties of life, or rather one of the things that I love about these Spider-Verse movies and Alberto Mielgo, is that there's art. His art is not, it has a lot of imperfection. Symmetry is not always there, stuff like that. There's a lot of imperfections in it, which makes it seem more real and just more appealing. It's not always perfect. There's dirt, there's floating geometry. At times he paint, and then he'll just scribble in some lines to indicate curls. He'll never crop the whole. He didn't make an outline. He'll just put them anywhere. That just seems appealing. And then, so I feel like that's better. Just at times an appealing character doesn't mean they have to be a beautiful character. You feel me? They just have to be interesting to look at. So he really gets that down right. And his art style is not easy. It's something that definitely comes from after understanding so much. So that's pretty much all I can say about that. So yeah, I had a couple shortcomings in this thing. I didn't get the character the way I wanted him to. I didn't get the look I wanted. But then I'll definitely keep trying. I'll make more Spider-Man models along the ways, some more cartoony, some more realistic. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the commentary right there. Just I know a little random, but I do appreciate that. If you made it this far, leave a like, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy the rest of your day. This is like a Monday morning phone for me. Yeah, so good day.